Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the stories that capture the world's attention with empathy and understanding. Today, we're talking about something that's been making headlines for months, the professional separation between Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Now, before we go any further, I want to be clear about something. This isn't about scandal or drama. This is about two people navigating one of the most challenging situations imaginable, rebuilding their lives and careers after stepping away from the British royal family. What we're seeing unfold is actually a fascinating case study in reinvention, resilience, and the reality of what happens when a fairy tale meets the modern world. So let's approach this with the respect and nuance it deserves, because behind all the headlines are real people making difficult decisions about their future, their family, and their individual dreams. The story of Harry and Meghan's professional separation didn't happen overnight. To understand where we are today, we need to go back to 2020 when they made the unprecedented decision to step back as senior working royals. At the time, they spoke about wanting financial independence and the ability to work to become financially independent while continuing to fully support Her Majesty the Queen. What followed was a whirlwind of high-profile projects that seemed to position them as the ultimate power couple of the post-royal world. There was the groundbreaking Netflix deal, reportedly worth over $100 million. There was their explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey that broke viewing records. Their podcast deal with Spotify. The tell-all memoir Spare that became one of the fastest-selling nonfiction books in history. For a while, it seemed like everything they touched turned to gold. Their Netflix documentary series Harry and Meghan broke multiple viewing records and was considered a massive success for the streaming platform. It felt like they had successfully transitioned from royalty to Hollywood royalty, and they were doing it together, as a team. But then something interesting started happening in 2024. Industry insiders began noticing a subtle shift in how Harry and Meghan were approaching their professional lives. Instead of appearing together at every event, they started making more solo appearances. Instead of joint projects, they began focusing on individual ventures that played to their specific strengths and interests. The first major sign of this shift was when Harry began making solo trips for his philanthropic work, particularly around the Invictus Games, the Paralympic-style competition he founded for wounded veterans. Meanwhile, Meghan started focusing more on her business ventures, including the launch of her lifestyle brand American Riviera Orchard. Now, it's important to understand that this wasn't some dramatic breaking point or crisis. According to sources close to the couple, this was actually a strategic decision born out of practical considerations. One insider told Us Weekly that the intense press attention Meghan attracts hasn't been helpful for Harry's work. The constant media scrutiny around Meghan meant that when she appeared at events supporting Harry's causes, the focus would inevitably shift from the work itself to her presence. Think about it from Harry's perspective. The Invictus Games is deeply personal to him. It's about supporting wounded veterans and showcasing their incredible resilience and strength. But when Meghan attends these events with him, the media coverage often shifts to what she's wearing, how they're interacting as a couple, or analyzing their body language. While this attention isn't necessarily negative, it can overshadow the actual purpose of the events. Similarly, from Meghan's perspective, she's someone who had a successful career before meeting Harry and has always been fiercely independent. Sources suggest she wanted to be recognized and valued for her own accomplishments and talents, rather than solely being known as the wife of a prince. This desire for individual recognition isn't unusual. It's something many couples face when one partner has a very high-profile identity. So in 2024, they began what royal watchers started calling their professional separation. This meant Harry would focus on his philanthropic work, particularly around veterans issues and mental health, while Meghan would concentrate on her business ventures and media projects. It was, according to sources, described as a healthy change in their dynamic that allowed both of them to pursue their individual passions more effectively. The results of this strategy have been mixed, and this is where the story becomes really interesting from a business perspective. Harry's solo projects haven't quite achieved the same level of success as their joint ventures. His Netflix series, Heart of Invictus, while meaningful and well-intentioned, didn't generate the same buzz as their documentary together. His follow-up project, Polo, which was released in December 2024, also failed to break through in the way Netflix might have hoped. Meanwhile, Meghan has been preparing for what many see as a crucial test of her individual brand. Her new Netflix cooking and lifestyle show, With Love Meghan, was originally scheduled to launch in January 2025, but was postponed due to the wildfire crisis in California. The show, which premieres in March 2025, represents her first major solo project for Netflix and will be seen as a significant indicator of whether she can achieve the same level of success independently. Royal commentators have noted that this show could be make or break for Meghan's individual brand. Some experts predict it will be more successful than Harry's recent projects, given her background in lifestyle content and her natural affinity for this type of programming. Others worry that without the royal connection that initially drew audiences to their joint projects, individual ventures might struggle to capture the same level of attention. The professional separation has also extended to their business infrastructure. Reports suggest they're now appointing separate chiefs of staff as part of this new chapter. Miranda Barbot, a veteran political and media advisor who helped re-elect Barack Obama in 2012, is reportedly working solely with Harry, while Sarah Fosmo, formerly an aide to Microsoft billionaire Bill Gates, is supporting Meghan. Even their social media presence reflects this shift. Meghan launched her own Instagram account in January 2025, separate from their joint Sussex brand, which quickly amassed over 650,000 followers. The account's launch video, filmed by Harry, showed Meghan running on a beach before drawing 2025 in the sand, a symbolic representation of this new chapter in her professional life. But here's what's fascinating about all of this. Despite the professional separation, Harry and Meghan have been careful to show that their personal relationship remains strong. In December 2024, they released a joint video highlighting their charitable work together, seemingly in response to media speculation about relationship troubles. The video showed them working together on various philanthropic projects and appeared to be a deliberate effort to counter narratives about marital problems. Industry experts have had mixed reactions to this professional separation strategy. Some PR specialists argue that it's a smart move that could help both of them establish stronger individual brands and reduce the endless backlash that sometimes follows their joint appearances. The theory is that by separating professionally, they can each focus on their strengths without the distraction of constant couple-focused coverage. Others worry that the separation might actually weaken their overall brand power. The Harry and Meghan brand was incredibly strong because it represented this unique combination of royal heritage, Hollywood glamour, and progressive values. Some marketing experts question whether either of them individually has the same level of drawing power as they do together. There's also the question of their Netflix contract, which is reportedly up for renewal in 2025. The streaming giant will be closely watching the performance of Meghan's cooking show and any upcoming projects from Harry to determine whether the partnership is worth continuing. If their individual projects don't perform as well as their joint ventures, it could impact their future earning potential significantly. What makes this situation particularly complex is that they're navigating it all under intense public scrutiny. Every professional decision, every solo appearance, every social media post gets analyzed for clues about the state of their relationship and their future plans. This level of attention would be challenging for any couple, let alone one trying to rebuild their careers in a completely new industry. The emotional toll of this transition shouldn't be underestimated either. In recent interviews, both Harry and Meghan have spoken about the challenges of their situation. Harry has been open about his mental health struggles and the difficulty of being separated from his family in the UK. Meghan has talked about feeling incredibly lonely at times, particularly during the early days of their transition away from royal life. Looking ahead, the success or failure of their professional separation will likely be measured in the coming months. The Winter Invictus Games in Vancouver in February 2025 provided an interesting test case. Meghan did attend with Harry, temporarily ending their professional separation for this significant event. Some PR experts questioned whether this was wise, arguing that her presence might shift focus away from the athletes and veterans the Games are meant to celebrate. The reception and coverage of Meghan's Netflix show will also be crucial. If it succeeds, it could validate the strategy of pursuing individual brands and potentially open doors for more solo projects. If it underperforms, it might force them to reconsider their approach and potentially return to more joint ventures. What's important to remember throughout all of this is that Harry and Meghan are human beings navigating an unprecedented situation. They left behind everything they knew: family, country, established roles, to build something new. That kind of transition is incredibly difficult under any circumstances, let alone when it's happening under the constant glare of international media attention. They're also parents to two young children, Archie and Lilibet, and every decision they make has to be considered through the lens of what's best for their family. The professional separation isn't just about their careers, it's about creating the most sustainable and healthy environment for their children to grow up in. From a broader perspective, their story reflects many of the challenges facing modern couples, particularly those where both partners have ambitious career goals. How do you balance individual aspirations with joint ventures? How do you maintain your own identity while being part of a high-profile partnership? These are questions that many couples grapple with, even if they're not doing so in the public eye. The Harry and Meghan story also illustrates the complexity of modern celebrity and the challenges of transitioning between different types of fame. Royal fame operates very differently from entertainment industry fame, and they've had to learn to navigate this new landscape while building sustainable businesses and maintaining their personal relationship. As we watch this story continue to unfold, it's worth approaching it with empathy and understanding. These are two people who gave up their positions in one of the world's most famous institutions to pursue their own path. That takes incredible courage, but it also comes with enormous challenges and uncertainties. Whether their professional separation ultimately proves successful, or whether they decide to return to more joint ventures, one thing is clear. They're committed to building something meaningful together, even if they're pursuing parts of that vision individually. Their story is far from over, and how it develops will be fascinating to watch. The reality is that relationships, both personal and professional, evolve over time. What worked for Harry and Meghan in their early post-royal days might not be what works best for them now. The fact that they're willing to adapt and try new approaches shows a level of maturity and strategic thinking that could serve them well in the long run. So that's where we stand with the Harry and Meghan professional separation story. It's not about drama or conflict. It's about two people figuring out how to build the lives and careers they want while navigating unprecedented circumstances. Whether they succeed or face further challenges, their willingness to take risks and forge their own path continues to captivate audiences around the world. What do you think about their professional separation strategy? Do you think it's a smart move that will help them build stronger individual brands? Or do you believe they're more powerful together? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I always appreciate hearing different perspectives on these complex situations. And if this video helped you understand the real story behind the headlines, please consider giving it a like and subscribing for more thoughtful takes on the stories that matter. Until next time, remember that behind every headline are real people making real decisions, and approaching these stories with empathy makes us all a little more human.